The film begins in 55 AD in Cappadocia, where an old man known as Saint Matthias is paraded by a group of people who then punish Matthias by stoning him. When Matthias becomes helpless, a man picks up a larger stone and strikes him on the head until the saint is dead. Centuries after this event, in 1209 AD, Christianity dominates Europe and the Crusades are underway to reclaim the city of Jerusalem. Additionally, the Normans loyal to King John of England are fighting to conquer Ireland, where deep in its remote interior, a holiest relic is kept in a small monastery. Switching to a young monk named Diarmuid and the Mute, a man found stranded on the beach and helped by Diarmuid. Since he never spoke from the moment he was found, Diarmuid and the other monks have come to know him as the Mute, who has now become Diarmuid's friend and the monastery's guardian. At that moment, they are on a hill not far from the monastery when they see three horsemen approaching. Diarmuid quickly runs down the hill to the monastery to inform the other monks that knights have arrived. The knights are led by a French Cistercian monk named Frere Giraldus, who meets the abbot and reveals his mission as an envoy of Pope Innocent III in Rome to transport the holy relic stored at the monastery to Rome. Hearing this, the abbot agrees because the relic is said to have the power to destroy unbelievers. According to some legends, the relic can unleash God's wrath upon enemies, ensuring victory in the upcoming Crusades. Not long after, they and several monks retrieve a golden chest containing the holy relic from a pit near the monastery. The abbot then dispatches 5 monks, including Diarmuid and the Mute, to accompany Giraldus on his sacred journey to take the relic to Rome. Without wasting any time, Diarmuid, the Mute, and the other monks named Kieran, Cathal, and Rua quickly prepare to load the holy relic onto a cart before they all begin their sacred journey to Rome, led by Giraldus. As the group travels a considerable distance across the grasslands, the sky darkens with clouds until the horse-drawn cart carrying the holy relic becomes immovable, as if the relic itself is very heavy. Because of this, Diarmuid and the other monks attempt to push the cart and are suddenly startled by a lightning bolt striking the golden chest holding the holy relic. The resulting sparks cause a brief panic among the monks as they rush to extinguish the flames. Once the fire is out, Kieran tries to touch the golden chest, only to find it scorching hot, burning his hand. Simultaneously, rain begins to fall, forcing the group to continue their journey and seek shelter. After a while, as night falls, Giraldus and his group decide to rest and build a campfire. They then discuss the tale of the Vikings who tried to steal the holy relic, drawn by its power. At that time, the Vikings attacked the monastery at night, killing the sleeping monks before taking the relic. Shortly after, the surviving monks ran out of the church and saw an angel carrying the holy relic. At the same time, a great storm arose, dragging all the Viking ships into the sea. When the storm subsided, the monks saw 3 Viking corpses, their bodies burned from touching the holy relic, as only those with pure hearts could touch it. Hearing this story, Kieran looks at the burn on his hand, questioning the purity of his heart since the relic did not allow him to touch it. The next morning, as Diarmuid wakes up, he accidentally sees the Mute doing something he has never seen before. Additionally, he also notices a large cross tattoo on the Mute's back, covered with scars. As the sun rises higher, Giraldus leads the monks to continue their sacred journey. Along the way, they cross a small river, and Giraldus, feeling thirsty, decides to drink from it. The monks quickly forbid Giraldus from drinking the river water, believing it to be inhabited by fairy creatures that emerge at night from the river's crevices. Many believe the river water contains magical spells harmful to humans. However, Giraldus dismisses the story as mere superstition. After that, without hesitation he steps into the river, purifies the water with a prayer, and then drinks from it. Afterward, Giraldus and his group resume their long journey and arrive at a forest where a contingent of Roman allied soldiers approaches them. Upon learning about Giraldus's mission to transport the holy relic, the soldiers, led by a king's son named Raymond de Merville, escort Giraldus's group to meet his father, King Baron de Merville. On the way to the king's camp, the group encounters the carcass of a fox impaled on a tree with the symbol of the Ue Morta tribe, a tribe that once prayed to God but turned to worship other objects after their prayers for victory in battle went unanswered. Simultaneously, they spot fish thieves across the river, prompting Raymond's men to shoot arrows at the thieves. After capturing the fish thief in the kingdom's territory, Raymond's men cut off the thief's hand. During this time, Raymond and his men recognized the mute, who looks familiar from the Crusades. Shortly after, they continue their journey until they reach the camp and meet Baron, known for his loyalty and devotion to God. When meeting Giraldus, Baron expresses that if he were younger and stronger, he would join the sacred journey to Rome. Curious about the holy relic, Baron asks Giraldus to open the golden chest and let him see the relic. Giraldus agrees, and when the chest is opened, the holy relic turns out to be the stone used by a man to kill Matthias thousands of years ago. The next day, Giraldus and his group continue their journey, escorted by Raymond's soldiers. Upon reaching the riverbank, they find the bridge they intended to cross burned down by the Morta tribe. Because of this, Raymond and some of his men decide to search for the Morta group responsible for destroying the bridge, while Giraldus proceeds with the remaining escort. As Giraldus's group travels through the forest, which is Morta territory, they are suddenly ambushed by the tribe members. One by one, Raymond's guards fall to arrows and enemy sword strikes. In the midst of the chaos, the mute grabbed a sword and started taking down the attacking Morta members. Eventually, the mute lost control and brutally killed one of the tribe members by repeatedly driving an iron shield into his body. Due to the mute's fierce resistance, the surviving Morta members begin to retreat. Unfortunately, one tribe member manages to steal the cart containing the golden chest with the holy relic after incapacitating Kieran, who is left unconscious on the horse-drawn cart. Seeing this, D'Armuid immediately chases the cart, but the mute, still consumed by rage, ambushes D'Armuid, attacking anyone in his path. Because of this, D'Armuid tries to bring the mute to his senses, eventually succeeding in stopping the attack. In the aftermath of the ambush, Giraldus, D'Armuid, the mute, and the surviving Cathal decide to retrieve the holy relic and rescue Kieran from the Morta tribe. Giraldus then gives the mute a sword and asks him to help track the stolen cart. Without wasting time, the four of them begin to follow the cart's trail until the mute spots a Morta tribe member, whom he then kills. After traveling quite a distance, Giraldus and the others finally find the Morta tribe settlement. Seeing the overwhelming number of enemies, they decide to hide and plan to rescue Kieran and retrieve the holy relic once night falls. As night descends, D'Armuid and the others stealthily move through the darkness towards where Kieran is tied up. Realizing their presence, Kieran urges D'Armuid and the others to leave immediately because he had thrown the holy stone away before being attacked and captured by the Morta tribe. At that moment, they hear someone approaching, forcing D'Armuid and the others to hide again before they can untie Kieran. Unexpectedly, Raymond and his soldiers arrive to meet with the leader of the Morta tribe. During their conversation, it is revealed that Raymond and the tribe have been working together to acquire the item brought by Giraldus's group. It turned out, Raymond wants the holy stone, while the Morta tribe is after the golden chest used to store the stone. Unfortunately, when the golden chest is examined, it is found empty. Raymond then interrogates Kieran, forcing the monk to reveal the whereabouts of the holy stone. However, Kieran remains silent, infuriating Raymond, who begins to torture him by stabbing him in the abdomen with a special sharp weapon, twisting it before pulling it out, causing Kieran's intestines to spill out. The torture kills Kieran on the spot, while D'Armuid and the others are horrified by the brutal act committed by Raymond. When the situation seemed safe, D'Armuid and the others quickly returned to the site of the Morta tribe's attack to search for the holy stone that Kieran had thrown earlier. Using torchlight, they managed to find the stone, so D'Armuid quickly took it, and they hurried away to avoid Raymond's soldiers, who were searching for them to obtain the holy stone. The next day, while D'Armuid's group was resting, Cathal began to lose hope about their sacred journey, feeling that he wouldn't survive Raymond's pursuit. At the same time, they heard the sound of trumpets from Raymond's troops, prompting D'Armuid and the others to leave immediately. As they felt cornered, D'Armuid and the others noticed a thick fog covering the base of a hill and decided to hide within it. Upon reaching the bottom of the hill, D'Armuid and the others realized they were in a swamp that was impossible to cross. They hurried to the other side of the swamp to avoid Raymond's troops, who had briefly seen them. Struggling to locate the monks, Raymond provoked him until an enraged Giraldus shouted back. Because of this, Raymond's men then pinpointed Giraldus's location and shot arrows towards his voice. Fortunately, Giraldus escaped the arrows and stealthily moved to another location for shelter. In their desperation, Diarmuid held the holy stone and walked into the swamp until they experienced a miracle by encountering two men with a boat on the other side. With no other choice, Giraldus paid the two boatmen to take them away from the area. After following the river, they finally reached the sea. Unfortunately, because the tide is out, they have to wait until nightfall for the tide to rise so they can continue their journey. Unfortunately, this plan fails as Raymond's horsemen arrive at the beach, prompting Diarmuid and the others to push their boat into the sea immediately. In a panic, Giraldus asks the mute to hold off Raymond's forces to protect the holy relic they are carrying. Giraldus then promises the mute that if he succeeds, all his sins from the Crusades will be forgiven by God. Wanting to atone for his sins from the Crusades, the mute walks alone to the shore to confront Raymond and his men. Meanwhile, Giraldus and the others are still trying to push their boat into the sea when Raymond's troops shoot arrows, killing one of the ferrymen. Sometime later, the mute starts fighting Raymond's soldiers who try to stop him. With his combat experience from the Crusades, the mute quickly defeats Raymond's men. Seeing this, Raymond steps in to face the mute with his mace. The mace's blows overwhelm the mute, giving Raymond the opportunity to stab him in the abdomen with a sharp weapon. At the same time, the mute bites Raymond's neck, resulting in both of their deaths. In the film's final scenes, on the boat, Cathal, who had been struck by an arrow, dies and falls into the sea. Simultaneously, Giraldus declares that the holy relic they carry will only cause more people like the mute to commit acts of holy violence. Therefore, he decides to drown the holy stone, though he ultimately falls and sinks to the bottom of the sea with it. After the accident, the surviving ferryman asks Diarmuid where they should go, but he does not respond. Moral lesson from the story: never trust a silent friend. They might just become a heroic warrior. And remember, holy rocks can really rock your world in unexpected ways.